Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice Radio, so today we are looking at another exciting new GX, which is coming out in the upcoming Pokemon trading card game set, Crimson Invasion. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Alolan Golem, which is a little bit strange. Although I must confess, in the original Pokemon games, Golem was my third favourite. Porygon, then Snorlax, then Golem. Alolan Golem, nowhere near as fond of. But here's what's weird. We still don't have an Alolan Marowak card. We're now going to have an Alolan Golem and an Alolan Golem GX, and an Alolan Ninetales plus a GX, and an Alolan Mark plus a GX, and we still don't have an Alolan Marowak card. None has been announced, none has been released. What's going on? It also confirms the GXs that are going to be in Crimson Invasion. We now have a complete list of all 8. We are getting 4 of the Ultra Beasts, that being Guzzlord, Nihilego, Kartana, and Buzzwole, as well as Silvally, Alolan Executor GX, Gyarados GX, and Alolan Golem GX. Now, the good thing for you, ladies and gentlemen, I hope at least, is that now that all of them have been revealed, I've done videos on all of them, so check out the links in the description where you can go and find out about all of these GXs. Maybe you watched the videos before and you just want a recap. Good. Maybe you haven't seen them, in which case, go check them out. Now, Alolan Golem. It is an electric Pokemon, a lightning Pokemon I should say, which is not particularly great at the moment. It's not a brilliant weakness to be hitting, to be perfectly honest. The weakness to fighting is a little bit of an issue, given that anybody can tech Marshadow into their deck to take this down, and Gardevoir decks will be playing Gallade. Now, in terms of Marshadow, it's not seeing a huge amount of play at the moment, but maybe it will. No guarantee, but it might. And here's the thing, even if it doesn't see play, if a card like Alolan Golem ever gets big, you know people are going to tech Marshadow in super easily to take it down. Retreat cost of 4 is heavy, but as I say every time, heavy ball. Resistance to metal is always a good thing, especially with Metagross running around, because it means Metagross is only hitting for 130, so if you can heal or reduce 20 damage, they're not 2-hit KOing you, which is pretty sweet. In terms of the HP, 250 HP is huge, but it is kind of standard. We've seen this on Stage 2 GXs before. Something to bear in mind, ladies and gentlemen, and I know a lot of you will already know this, this only evolves from Alolan Graveler, not regular Graveler. So the first attack here, 80 damage for a lightning double colourless. It's a fairly standard attack. You pop a choice band on there, you're hitting for 110, which will one-hit KO most GXs that are weak, although like I've said, they really aren't there at the moment. What is kind of funny is that we've got a Stage 1 Gyarados GX, on which I did a video earlier today. This will not one-hit KO that, even with a choice band, which is kind of silly. But you get an Alolan Geodude, you pop a Lightning Energy on there, turn 2, you rare candy into Alolan Golem, attach a double colourless, and then you're hitting for 80, you're taking out stuff like Curlier, I suppose, or Alolan Vulpix. I mean, it's not bad, it's fine. It's not great, it's fine. The second attack, however, I like the second attack, ladies and gentlemen. 200 damage, but you do 50 damage to yourself. Now, the downside is we don't have Protection Cube anymore. This would stop this 50 damage. It would be great, because 200 damage is a lot. All your basic GXs, done. Stage 1 GXs like Espeon GX, which is probably the most prominent of them, done. It won't KO all of them. There's a bunch of Stage 1 GXs that have more than 200 HP, but it will get Espeon, and that's probably the most played Stage 1 GX at the moment. And if you could be sitting there with 250 HP, hitting for 200, this would be great. And it still is. You'll still get probably a couple KOs here. You can still use this and have 200 HP remaining that a lot of decks aren't going to be able to hit. So against something like, say, a Metagross, you can still hit for 200, go down to 200 yourself, safe in the knowledge that your opponent's Metagross is not going to be able to do 200 back to you. They're going to be doing 180. I suppose with a Kukui they could. Oh no, wait, because you've got resistance. But it does mean that something like a Tapu Bulu GX with a choice band will be able to do 210 and get a KO, whereas initially they wouldn't be able to hit 250. But bearing in mind, they're only getting a KO after you've done 200 damage. So yeah, Tapu Bulu can KO you, but not before you've KO'd a Tapu Bulu. Now the attack cost here is a little bit awkward. Double colourless energy and 2 lightning. But the good news is you've actually got plenty of options to pay this. First of all, you have got double colourless energy, which is good. Second of all, you've got Electrode. Now, I know Electrode means giving up a prize, but, well, we're going to talk about a card later on which is going to mitigate that somewhat. But then, of course, ladies and gentlemen, you've got the great option of Raikou. Raikou is basically just Yveltal. It's got Oblivion Wing, or the equivalent thereof, 30 damage, and attach an energy to the bench. So if you start off with Raikou, you attach energy to Alolan Golem, plus double colourless, plus Electrode. You cannot say that there aren't options. And I tell you what, in Expanded with Electric, this could be a bit of a powerhouse. Because I'm telling you now, in the expanded format, Electric is good. You then put a Alolan Golem in there, with Protection Cube so you don't take self-damage, and Electric to get this going quickly, and sitting there, hitting for 200 damage every turn, with no downside, while you accelerate energy with Electric, and of course, you can always play something like Max Potion, because let's face it, you can get the energy back. This could be really good in Expanded, but don't count it out in Standard. You've got options, ladies and gentlemen, and 200 base damage is great. Tapu Bulu does 180 for free energy and the discard. Metagross does 150 for free energy and can't attack next turn. Turtonator does 160 for free energy and discards 2. This does 200 damage. It is immense. And then, of course, if you add a choice band on there, 1-hit KO on Gardevoir and 1-hit KO on all the Stage 1 GXs, you are just rocking through decks at this stage, ladies and gentlemen. You could even add a Professor Kukui, then you're doing 250, and even those Stage 2 GXs are falling in front of you. Even Metagross. I cannot stress this enough. Do not sleep on an attack that has 200 base damage. Now, of course, the fact you're using 4 energy will be a downside with Gardevoir, and I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but you're going to have to get used to hearing me say this. Now, with 250 HP, it means 9 energy total to hit for 270, because 8 is only 240. So it still means your opponent needs 5 energy on a Gardevoir or 4 energy in a choice band, and with your own choice band you're getting a 1-hit KO. That's good, but then again, when you hit you get down to 200, which means 7 energy total, which with 4 energy on you means free energy or 2 energy in a choice band, so Gardevoir will probably be return KOing you quite easily. But it means you'll likely get the first KO, and that is something about which you can be excited. Speaking of excited, I might not even have said the best thing about Alolan Golem yet. Heavy Rock GX. Same attack cost as the main attack, so you know what? I like that. You know I like that. Now, we don't have a definite translation, but PokeBeach.com thinks they've got the translation. I'm willing to trust them. There is a chance this will change. The picture we've got's a little bit blurry, but it seems to be 100 damage. Your opponent cannot play any cards from their hand during their next turn. Which is frankly ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. It means that if your opponent does not already have the cards on the field to take a KO, they are definitely not taking a KO next turn. There's no, oh, do they have a good... No! They don't have a Guzma, because even if they do, they can't play it. Oh, do they have a Candy Gardevoir? Oh no, nobody cares if they have a Candy Gardevoir. They can't play it. Oh, do they have the extra energy to take the KO? Nobody cares because they can't play it. Now, as a side note, some decks won't care too much. Something like a Tapu Bulu Vikavolt will still be able to use Strong Charge to accelerate energy. But they better have the third energy already on the field. They better have that choice band already out. Because the thing is, you can use this to take a KO. And if your opponent does not have an alternate attacker ready, they will not be getting a KO on you next turn. Unless they're playing something like Vikavolt Bulu and they can use their deck, for instance. Because they ain't attaching any energy, playing any items, playing any supporters, benching any Pokemon, or evolving any Pokemon. You are basically saying to your opponent, I'm going to do 100 damage. If you've got a Pokemon ready to go, you may attack. That's it. And the absolute best case scenario with Alolan Golem here, you have a fully healed, 0 damage Alolan Golem. You take a KO with Heavy Rock GX, maybe on an evolving Pokemon, maybe finishing off a GX, and then you're sitting there with 250 HP. Your opponent cannot play any cards next turn, and they know that you're hitting for 200 damage the following turn. 230 maybe with a choice band. How ridiculous is that? That is going to be a ridiculously powerful board position. It means that you have got a turn coming up to evolve and attach energy where you will not be disrupted. It means you've got a turn to get going and take some prizes while your opponent just sits there crying. It means if you didn't have the end this turn to disrupt their hand, you can use Heavy Rock GX and then next turn you can end them while they haven't played anything. I think this is possibly the most broken GX attack we've had yet. You need to use it properly, but it's the combination of this and the second attack. It's hitting for 100, knowing that your opponent isn't doing very much next turn, and knowing that you are going to be hitting for 200 next turn. I'm going to give Alolan Golem GX 4 Wassies. I love this card. Yes, Marshadow's a great tech against it. Yes, it is a little bit vulnerable to Gardevoir. Yes, it's kind of expensive, although to be honest, you've got plenty of options. And yes, you do 50 south damage. But the thing is, you don't take that south damage until you hit for 200. I adore the GX attack here, and it's one of those you've got to use it at the right time, but if you do, it could well win you the game. And a flat 200 damage is just amazing. Because here's the thing, yeah, you're vulnerable to Gardevoir, but here's a fun play. You KO a Curlier with Heavy Rock GX. Your opponent isn't able to attach enough energy to KO you the following turn. You then KO a Gardevoir with the second attack, and then all of a sudden your opponent is reeling. Oh yeah, and by the way, while you've been doing all this, you're building up a second Alolan Golem on the bench, so that when you inevitably get KO'd by a Gardevoir, you've got a KO ready to come. I love it, I adore it, 4 Wassies, I feel good. But I want to know what you think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wassie, and Twitch at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. That's where the live action happens. If you want to support the channel, you can do so at patreon.com/PTCGRadio. There's bonus pods to be gotten, so go get them. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.